So the fucking goat of our time, the LeBron James of programming, is now on record saying like, hey, this machine scores better baskets than me. If you beat out 700, you become the most profitable app of the last fiscal quarter. Hello, welcome back. Today, I will be talking about the best type of business in the entire world. If you've had anything over 95 IQ points and have been alive at all in the past 20 years, you will know, consciously or subconsciously in your head, that pretty much every single giant business in the last 2 decades has been this exact type of business. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Netflix, OpenAI, Anthropic, you name it. I mean, this type of business is a software business. There's a reason why software businesses are just fucking Goliath hyperscalers that just end up becoming huge, gigantic businesses. And I really encourage every single one of you, if you're trying to make your first dollar online, to really stay away from trying the physical route, you know, the commerce and products route, and really trying to give software a real swing. Of course, this is biased coming from me. I mean, I'm the guy who has built software products and made a bunch of money off them, but I mean, there's just a reason it's so easy. You never hear of a one-person clothing store. You never heard about a one-person candy store that made millions of dollars, but there are countless stories on the internet, mine included, of essentially one person or a very, very small team getting to millions of dollars with software businesses. And it's just so much easier at every single level. In this video, in my attempt to try and convince you to start your own software business, I'll be talking about a few things. I'll be talking about the cost comparison between software businesses and physical businesses. Next, I'll be talking about the ease of starting. And third, I will be talking about how you just don't have that much time left to start something like this. So first, let's talk about the costs. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'll give you the example of myself and my first product, Interview Coder, and I'll give you the example of Little Timmy. Little Timmy wants to, just like every other ABB in California or every other white guy in a garage with his friends, wants to start a clothing brand. So Little Timmy goes off and starts a clothing brand. Timmy and his friends, you know, like they're trying to sell hoodies. They contact a few manufacturers from China. His brother knows a guy, and they go back and forth. Shipping times, international shipping times take a while, but hey, if you want the cheap clothing costs, you gotta buy in bulk from China, so no other way around it. 2 weeks in, they get their first shipment, costs maybe a couple $100. They check out the hoodie, they don't like this hoodie, so another 2 weeks comes by, another $700 down the drain, they get a couple more blanks, and oh, they don't like this hoodie, one more time, 2 weeks round trip, and now they're down a couple $1,000s at this point. They've also had to hire a graphic designer to find a print, but you know, a couple $1,000s, maybe like a month or two, and now they have the hoodie, the blank that they want, they have the prints that they want to put on the hoodie, they have a little Shopify website up. So, okay, so great. So now Timmy's ready to sell, he's down a couple $1,000s, and it only took a few months. On the contrary, my story with Interview Coder, when I built Interview Coder, it cost me $13 for the domain, and I think everything else is free. Hosting is free on Vercel, my database is free on Supabase, and all the code I have to write is just code that I write by hand. In fact, I use AI to code, so maybe there's like a $20 OpenAI subscription there. And after that, it was literally free. It cost me $33, and I coded it in maybe like about a weekend or two, so it cost me 2 weeks and $33 versus $2,500 and 3 months to start selling our product. But let's move beyond that, you know, like Timmy and his friend have a generational run. Their video goes viral marketing their hoodie, and they now sell 1,000 hoodies. Let's go, 1,000 hoodies. We just made $70,000 of profit. Except that's not actually $70,000. You know, before those 1,000 hoodies were sold, they had to have the inventory. Otherwise, their shipping times would be 3 weeks, and nobody's waiting 3 weeks for a hoodie from a new brand. So they contact China, and they bought the 1,000 hoodies beforehand, maybe 45 bucks a hoodie for a really quality hoodie. That's $45,000 down the drain, contingent on them having sold the hoodies. So they're down like a lot of money just buying the blanks in the first place. They have to ship everything. They have to package it up, shipping costs. Like who's gonna do it? I mean, like it's certainly like not just gonna be done by a robot for them. We don't have the robots for that yet. So they wrap it up, they ship it, they have to print out the labels, they have to do all this shit. And you know, when someone doesn't like it, they gotta process the returns, because who doesn't have free returns nowadays? So about 10% of that cost maybe goes to free returns, and whatever marketing cost they put into marketing the thing, they gotta pay for that. So Timmy and his friend are trying to sell 1,000 hoodies. They made $70,000, but in exchange, they had to put up something like $50,000, $60,000 up front. So all that, 1,000 hoodies, $75,000 in profit to net what? Fucking like $10,000? It's ridiculous. On the contrary, my generational run with Interview Coder, when I first sold my first 1,000 subscriptions for $60 a month, you know how much I kept of that? I kept about $59,500. In fact, there were almost no costs at all. The only costs were the API costs being like the different like the different AI endpoints that I'm hitting, or the different, and also like I had to upgrade my database at one point. So it was about $20 a month to upgrade my database, and it was about $300 in OpenAI credits. So that's it. That's literally it. And I did actually make $60,000 from selling 8,000 subscriptions, and I kept $59,000 of it. And you know what else I didn't have to do? I didn't have to go and I didn't have to pack up the subscriptions, because you know, all you gotta do is hit the download button, hit the pay button, and it's software, so I don't have to do anything. Getting my 1,000th customer was just as easy as getting my first customer. It costed nothing. I didn't have to open a physical location. I didn't need a place to store 1,000 subscriptions. I didn't need any of the things that traditionally Timmy and his friend would have needed. And even if they are to hyperscale, and this is like the where the math really gets brutal. Let's say Timmy and his friend are really hyperscaling, you know, like 5x per year. So let's just imagine, you know, it's like year 2, Timmy and his friend make $20 million selling hoodies this year. That's a fuck ton of money. $20 million, like, yo, that's an inconceivable amount. And next year they say, all right, let's go sell $100 million of inventory this year. Someone has to, again, pay upfront for when you're expecting a $100 million year, you have to pay upfront for the expectation of selling $100 million worth of hoodies. So now you gotta have $100 million worth of hoodies bought, and you cannot fail, because if you fail, you bought hoodies in anticipation for selling $100 million worth of them, and if you didn't, then all that cost of goods and services goes to fucking zero. And you know what I did when I was selling my millionth dollar on Interview Coder? I was doing literally fucking nothing. I had already had the marketing going. Like, the marketing at this point, it's fucking word of mouth. I'm sitting there doing literally nothing for this company. Maybe I'll change the landing page every once in a while, make a Reddit post once in a while. I do nothing. It scales faster and faster because as more people use it, more people are talking about it. I don't have to dump a bunch of money into ads. It just scales naturally on its own. That's the thing, is when you do software, things can scale naturally on their own. When you are anticipating a 5x year, you don't need to pay up front for 5x cost. It's all almost essentially free. And still to this day, my margins are something like fucking upwards of 90% on Interview Coder. Every dollar I make is essentially a dollar I keep. And you're just never, ever gonna see a physical product like that except for luxury goods. With the sole exception of luxury goods, if you're not pricing your products at like fucking $4,000 for a handbag, then you're never, ever going to see the same marginal returns as software. So for that reason alone, if you are not sitting on maybe $100,000, the very strong marketing strategy, and you're 100% sure that you can get a bunch of sales on this clothing brand, then you probably shouldn't start a clothing brand, because you'd just be much better off, you know, if you wanted to make money, if that was a goal, not to generate a lot of revenue and fucking donate it all to meta ads. If you didn't want to do that, you want to keep the money to yourself, you're much better off starting a high margin software company than you are starting a clothing brand. Because the clothing brand, ultimately, even if you make a lot of money on paper, you're just not going to keep all that money. But software, you really do get to keep all that money. And you don't need to hire a gigantic team. You don't need to hire like a million salespeople and closers and operations and fucking facility factory workers. You just don't need any of that. So for that reason, software is just preferable. The next big reason why software is just better than physical products is the reason of software is pretty easy to make right now. And I say this right now, as in right now, when I say right now, I mean January of 2026, this first year. Claude Opus 4.5 got released a few months ago, and for those of you that don't know, this is Anthropic's latest coding model, and it is fucking giga good. For context, when I built Interview Coder, my first coding product, I was using Claude Opus 4.0. Last year, like almost exactly 1 year ago, is when I built Interview Coder, and I did not write a single line of code in that product. Every single line of code there was written by AI for a model that I am telling you right now is about 5 times worse than Anthropic's latest Opus 4.5. And to this day, Interview Coder is still the market leader. It's still printing me a lot of money, and there's been functionally no extra work that I've done to it. So you have this product that is the market leader that was built entirely with AI over the course of 2 weekends that has made me millions of dollars. And to this day, nobody's ever built a better product that just surpassed it. It's still the market leader. It's still the one making the most money. There's so many little micro niches like this where you can just build something. Nobody will compete because nobody's willing or interested to compete in that particular space. And you can just eat it all up because coding is so easy right now. As a matter of fact, probably one of the best coders, programmers of our generation, the best manual programmers of our generation is this guy named Linus Torvalds. He single-handedly built Linus and Git. Linus is the operating system which pretty much the entire world runs on, and any computer you see that is not an Apple computer is going to be based on the operating system that he wrote. He also wrote Git. It's essentially like a digital journal of all the code that's ever been written. All the code that's ever been written will be journalized via Git. And he wrote both these softwares, which pretty much every software engineer in the world uses. So he is like the fucking goat of our time. Him, very recently, has been on record using Google's Anti-Gravity, which is a coding IDE, a coding editor, an AI coding editor by Google to write his code. And he's saying, this is better than me. This is doing a better job than me. So the fucking goat of our time, the LeBron James of programming, is now on record saying like, hey, this machine scores better baskets than me. So if you don't think that software engineering is over right now, then you'd be wrong. Like it is over. And right now, like what that actually means for you, the person watching, like presumably you're not some fucking senior software engineer at OpenAI, you're not one of the best in the world. A big reason why most people are hesitant to jump into software products, in fact, I'd say the single biggest reason is because they think it's too hard to start a software company. It's too hard to build a software product. I don't know how to build Uber, I don't know how to build Airbnb. It's very, very, very easy right now. Claude Opus 4.5 has never been easier. Just Google Claude Code, figure out how it works for 2 minutes, and literally within seconds, you can have your own version of, I'm not even trolling, Uber. You could literally code Uber in a couple minutes, overnight. You could code your own thing. Overnight, with one sentence, you could code your own DocuSign and start selling that. There's so many industries in this world that are just ripe for disruption, so many software companies to start that nobody is starting. I'll tell you another crazy fact of the times that really just goes to show how few people are actually doing this thing. In the last 3 months, there have been 24,000 apps published to be approved and distributed on the App Store. 24,000, and of those, the number of apps that have generated over $100 in revenue is 700. That's less than 3%. Less than 3% of all the apps, all the developers in the world who do all this work of trying to get their app approved to the App Store, like all the back and forth of, oh, fix this. Okay, finally, can I get approved? Yes, finally. And when they finally get approved, 97% of them don't even put in the work to get 100 people to pay $1 for their product. That is crazy. Most of these people are just quitting when the fucking journey starts. And 700, this number 700, like really get into your head how absurdly low that is. For all the cracked people, for all the 8 billion people in the world and all the cracked engineers you think are out there, there's only 700 who in the last fiscal quarter, the last 3 months, have built something that has made them over $100. That's such an abysmally low amount. Your competition is 700 dudes. These 700 dudes made $100 building and selling apps. And if that doesn't just show you like how giant of a market that there is, that there can be cases like me, someone who has using worse models, the 5x worse models, built products that have gone to millions of dollars in sales, and now the models are 5x better, and there's still only 700 people in the last 3 months who have cracked into who have tapped into the fact that, oh, I can just build something and sell it. Your competition has really never been easier. It's never, ever been easier to make a software product, and it's also been just very easy to market the thing. Like, it's just an absurdly low number. Anybody can realize, like, yeah, if I really tried, if gun to my head, my life was on the line, yeah, I bet I could figure out how to get 100 people to pay $1 for something. So ultimately, right now, the models are much better than they were when I built my product with AI. That made me a bunch of money. You too can use the same models, like the much better models, to build your own thing that can make you $1 million, and the competition is just low. And the final point here, it's very closely tied to the second point. The final point is you don't have much time. The flip side of this 700, very low competition, not many people are building and selling at the same time. Like, the flip side of that is that 700 is very low, and that number is going to grow. In fact, this number is growing. If you actually look at the number of published apps on the App Store, that number is growing tremendously. It's never been easier. When you sit back and think about how many people could do it, because like literally every single one of your friends who you talk about making money with, like all of them could, in theory, build an app, publish it to the App Store, and make $100. They could put their own $100 in, you know, like fucking like $100. That's a testing budget. Like, I just want to make sure that the payment works. I'll put $100 for that. And the amount of people that are able to do that, like in the future, they will. Because it's very likely that you actually haven't heard about Claude Opus 4.5, this thing that I'm telling you about Claude Code. It's the first time you've ever heard about this. If that's the case for you, which it likely is, and then it is likely the case for all your friends, but this technology, it's coming, man. Once everyone gets access to it, and once everyone realizes that, oh shit, the method that Roy employed, the method that I employed a year ago, it's actually still not patched, anybody can go out and do it, then they're going to patch the method. Like, everyone is gonna tap in, and when that number of people who have made money on the App Store over $100 goes from 700 to 70,000, that's when you need to start worrying, because now 70,000 people, that's some competition, you know, like there's 69,999 people you gotta beat there. But right now there's not. There's 699 people, there's 700 people roughly that you have to beat out, and that's a very, very feasible thing. And by the way, if you beat out 700, you become the most profitable app of the last fiscal quarter of all the App Store. The #1 app in the last 3 months if you beat out just 700 people. That's absurd to think about. How many apps come out every year that you use like how many apps do you use? Like, there's at least over 20. Like, every year there's some fucking Giga Goliath billion-dollar app that's been made. Candy Crush came out one year, like Tinder, Hinge, like Twitch, Discord. There's so many apps that are printing hundreds of millions of billions of dollars, and to be number one of that fiscal quarter essentially guarantees you a spot as like, you know, like extremely rich. You've made it, and all you gotta do is beat 700 people. Right now is the moment. You will not have this time next year. Honestly, I'm surprised that it's even gotten this far, because really I thought last year when I published Interview Coder, I really thought the method was gonna get patched up instantly. But it didn't get patched up. You really just don't have that much time left. To sum it up, man, software businesses are just at every single level more like the numbers just make better sense. You end up with more money in your pocket. It is easier than ever to build software, and the reason why it is an actual method and like it is an actual tactic, like exploit right now, is because it's not patched yet, but it will get patched. And you know, there's so many people who just live life not hearing about opportunities and not jumping on the opportunities. You know, hearing that GameStop is running up, like, whatever, bro. Like people have already priced it in. Like it's not gonna run up anymore. They heard about Trump coin, but it's like, whatever. This meme coin thing is all a scam. They just like forget the opportunity. There's so many people who let opportunities just pass by them. Do not let that person be you. Right now, the opportunity is not in cryptocurrency, like the meme coin, the fucking lottery ticket, the fucking invention of fire, the railroad of our, like the gold rush of our time is in building AI apps. In Silicon Valley, even in Silicon Valley, there are very few people who are actually building AI apps. Every smart motherfucker is trying to sell some variant of a shovel. There's actually few people who are on the ground, in the trenches, building AI apps. There's only 700 of them in the past 3 months who are even half serious about this thing. So if you genuinely want to make something of yourself, you genuinely think that I am the guy who will, you know, like conquer the world one day, you have any sort of ego or ambition, right now is the moment. January 2026, the gold rush is in AI apps. Go build an AI app and sell it. It's never been easier. The method will not be here in 2027. You'll look back on this as another, just like fucking meme coins. Like, I wish I did that. You know, I was gonna actually buy some Trump coin. You know, I was actually gonna buy some Dogecoin. You know, I heard about GameStop when it was at like fucking 14 cents. Don't let that be another opportunity like this, because these opportunities, when they come, you gotta fucking aggressively try and grab them. If nothing else, go to Claude Code and just try and figure that shit out, bro, because if you can, you will be giga rich. And don't try to start a clothing company, because you know that shit is a pain in the ass. You don't end up with much money, and it might be cool and fun to think about, but it's just at the end of the day, you know, like what is all this about? You know, like I started a business because I want to make some money. You want to make some money, build some software. It's easy, and it will get patched. All right, that's it for this episode. Thanks for stopping in. I will see you guys next week. Talk a little bit more about startups and software.